Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at Korvold, the Fae-Cursed King, one of the new Jund dragons from Throne of Eldraine brawl decks. He's a 5 mana 4/4 with flying. Whenever you enter the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent, and whenever you sacrifice a permanent, you may put a counter on him and draw a card. Now, Jund does sacrifice pretty good. We've been here before, a lot. This commander just enables it even further. He can become a one-shot kill himself. He's a huge draw engine, and we kind of use that as a combo too. Just before we get into it, I am sorry I haven't made any videos in the last few days. I've been awfully busy at work, and I was putting together this beast. It's my new computer. I will definitely do a video on it. It's a monster. So first up are the cards for the main game plan of the deck. We're Jund Sacrifice, so of course we're going to have Dictate of Erebos and Grave Pact. The idea here is whenever we sacrifice a creature or lose a creature, so do our opponents. We can pretty much nuke their board constantly. Doubling Season, here for our commander because he gets a lot of counters through sacrificing permanents. And we produce a lot of tokens. And in your Jund Sacrifice deck, you've always got creatures that damage your opponents while you're doing it. The brand new Mayhem Devil, whenever anyone sacrifices a permanent, he can deal 1 damage to any target. He's great for chopping down tokens, other creatures, planeswalkers, or just finish off players. And then of course we've got good old Bloodlust and Zulu Cutthroat, which both just hemorrhage opponents across the length of the game. And because we're a token deck, lots of creatures, lots of weenies on the board, you can totally run Creative Behemoth and just overrun your opponent, or use Finale Devastation to do the same thing, or Finale Devastation into Great Hoof and live the dream, clap some cheeks. And like every good token deck in Jund, we have Ashnod's Altar, which is a big part of the deck. Sacrifice a token to get 2 mana, and we do have Nim Deathmantle here for a little bit of a cheeky combo. On its own, Deathmantle is a great card, it can keep resurrecting things. But with Ashnod's Altar and some creatures, infinite loop, infinite mana, infinite sacrificing, infinite draw with our command if we need to. So people, remember words can hurt. We're running the 3 words of X, Y, and Z. We've got Wildling, Waste, and War here. With Wildling, you can pay 1 mana whenever you draw a card to create a 2/2 bear token instead. With Waste, you can make your opponents discard a card instead of you drawing. Or War, you can do 2 damage to any target instead of drawing. I think these are very underrated enchantments in Commander. They're very powerful, and this is a commander they needed to work. Because our commander draws too many cards nearly. A Jund commander doesn't need to draw that many cards. There's a magic number, but we can just keep sacrificing more and more and keep drawing more cards, or pay the alternate cost into this and generate an army, attack opponent's hands, or just burn everything down. So one of the token generators we're going with is Treasure. It's got a few advantages. It has self-sacrifice built in. You just tap, sack, and then you add mana to your pool. That mana you add to your pool you can use for spells during this turn, and because you sacrificed a permanent, your commander gets buffed and draws you a card, and you've got mana from sacrificing a token, you can maybe cast your next spell. Great thing around. We've got the Plunderer here. Whenever we lose a creature, we get another treasure token. Even if a token is sacrificed, it creates another token. It just adds extra value across the length of your deck. We've got Revel in Riches, which whenever an opponent loses a creature, we get a treasure token, and if we have 10 or more, we win the game. It is a viable option. Dockside Extortionist, the new $20 goblin. Enters battlefield, we get treasure tokens equal to number of artifacts and enchantments on the board our opponents control. That can get a lot. And then Brass's Bounty generates treasure tokens equal to number of lands we control. Then you sacrifice them all, you draw a ton of cards, you have a ton of mana ready to go, and you just start casting spells. They work really well with the commander. And same idea with the Eldrazi. The Eldrazi can sacrifice himself to give us mana, and they've got nice steady progression. Awakening Zone and From Beyond just keep pushing out Eldrazi tokens on each of our upkeeps. From Beyond can sacrifice itself to 2 for another Eldrazi, hence we do run 1 Ulamog here because he's a big old boy that can eat 2 permanents on entry. And we do run Pawn of Ulamog, which whenever we lose a non-token creature, we get another Eldrazi token. So into general fodder, Dreadhorde Invasion, we lose a life but we get 1 token each upkeep, really can't go wrong there. And if we do have a big enough zombie army, we get a bit of lifelink too. Tender Shoot Dryad. This card has actually killed me a few times in Standard. Each of our upkeep, we get a 1/1 sapling token, but if we have City's Blessing, those saplings get +2/+2. Then they become like 3/3 beaters, like they're a genuine threat. In a token deck, City's Blessing is very easy. Endrick Tsar, he keeps creating Thrall tokens every time we cast a creature spell, but if there's too many Thrall, we'll overrun him and kill him. But that means we can just keep sacrificing the Thrall tokens as easy as we need to for tons of mana. And then we run Squeer the Mortal because sometimes it's handy to have a non-token that we can keep getting back. And then we've got things like Single Autocrat, which enters, we get 3 tokens. And then there's Avenger's End card that enters battlefield. You get a ton of plant tokens, equal number of lands you control. Gravetide, on entry and attack, you create 2/2 zombie tokens. These guys here are just good, big old fat creatures which generate an army, and that combo with Nim Deathmantle later on, we'll mention that. And then we've got the good old 2-for-1 sacrificing with Fleshbag Marauder and Merciless Execution. Of course, that's with Grave Pact or the Dictate of cards, of course. Now, some generic outlets. We do have a lot of self-sacrifice, but sometimes you need a bit of a more direct way. This here, we can scry 1 by sacking a creature. Kind of helps you get through your library if you need to. We've got your Henny, which has haste, which I keep forgetting and it gets him killed all the time. Whenever an opponent loses creatures, he gets counters. Plus you can sacrifice your own creatures, give your Henny indestructible. Just a good all-round beater. Goblin Bombardment, you can sacrifice any creature to do 1 damage to any target. Really strong, killing tokens, planeswalkers, whatnot. And Phyrexian Altar for a bit more ramp when we need it, but it's coloured. Into the support, Judith is kind of half and half. She kind of cares about half things dying and half things fighting. She gives us a half Lord effect with +1/+0 for all our creatures, which does help down with beatdown. And whenever a non-token creature dies, she gets to deal 1 damage to any target. Half our deck is around the token theme though. Felden on the 3rd path, he can make copies of things in our graveyard. This is pretty good because we've got some high value creatures which bring armies with them, but then they sacrifice it into turn, and that's built into the creature that you made a copy of, which your commander cares about of course, because then we get to draw a card and buff our commander. Helm the Host, kind of the same logic. We can create copies of things which generate armies, so like maybe Grave Titan or Avenger of Zendikar, or maybe Judith create a huge Lord effect with a lot of pinging. You can kind of mix and match there too. And good old Victimize, sacrifice 1 creature to bring 2 back from the graveyard. In a token deck, that's a good trade. Because we are very reliant on our commander, we run both our booties for a bit of protection. We run 2 tutors because our deck can go a lot of ways, so it's very important to have tutors we can adapt to the game plan we need to go to. And we run Phyrexian Reclamation to get back key creatures from the graveyard. Into removal, we don't run as many because we do have Grave Pact and Dictate of Erebos, so creature removal is pretty good. But I want to try Retribution of Ancients. You can pay 1 black mana to remove counters from any creature to neg creatures into the ground. Our commander gets a lot of +1/+1 counters on him, and with Doubling Seasons only more. But with Retribution, we can use him like a battery bank to kill creatures. It's something I'm trialing. Crux of Fate is a one-sided board wipe for us. We can choose to destroy all non-dragons, get to keep our dragon commander, and kill everything else. Good time. And Blasphemous Act is our nuke the board. The tokens make it really cheap and easy to do, and not many things can survive 13 damage. We've got Caustic Caterpillar and Thrashing Brontodon as creatures that can hate on Artifact Enchantment, but they have their own sacrifice built in, which is great for our commander. We run Bedevil, Assassin's Trophy, and Putrefy to try and hit most permanents. Alright, into ramp. We do run a Crucible of Worlds because our commander sees and says whenever a permanent is sacrificed, you get to do its effects. That includes lands too. It's a lot of fetch lands and utility lands in the deck. Bird's Paradise, must have, it's cheap, it's ramp. Sarko Tribelder can sacrifice himself, which our commander cares about. And similar theme with Spring Bloom Druid, which when he enters battlefield, we sacrifice a land and we search a library for 2 more lands. So we can play that land we sacrifice back into our board. We also run Farseek and Sky Shroud Claim to get lands of a particular type, not basic though. And a Crop Rotation to sacrifice any land to tutor for another land. There are key lands that we might want. For Mana Rocks, we kept it simple. Sol Ring, it's commander. Commander Sphere, because any color we need. And it can sacrifice itself, which again triggers our commander. So if you sacrifice it, you draw 2 cards. Chromatic Lantern is ramp and fixes all our colors. And we've gone with 3 signets, Gruul, Golgari, and Arcane for just a good fix of mana. Into the lands. This is kind of expensive, but it works well with the commander. We run our 3 main fetch lands, Wooded, Bloodstained, and Verdant. Again, if you sacrifice them, you buff your commander and you draw a card. We run our more budget options, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic, and Jund. Those 3 again only get basics, but we've got a few in the deck, and again our commander draws cards. We run our 3 slow fetch lands, Rocky Tar Pit and Mountain Valley. Now to the dual color lands, we run Stomping Ground, Blood Crypt, and Overgrown Tombs are 3 shock lands, but we also run other dual lands like Cinderglade and Sheltered Thicket for our more budget options, and Smoldering Marsh and Canyon Slough. Again, they've all got key cards we can search for. Into just generic colors for the lands, we got our 3 buddy lands, Rootbound Crag, Dragonskull Summit, and Woodland Cemetery, and Savage lands and Command Dog can tap for any color we need. Into the more utility lands, the Peat Land. It can tap for black or green, but you can pay 1, sack it to draw a card. With a commander, you're drawing 2 cards. The value is unreal. But then with Crucible Worlds, you can keep bringing it back and just keep drawing cards as much as you need. 1 mana to draw 2 cards with Crucible Worlds is a good combination. Strip Mine, we are running Crucible Worlds. It's a combo you have to include, just to destroy the entire land base and draw a ton of cards while doing it with your commander. Phyrexian Tower can give us more ramp and with our commander draw at the same time. And because we're doing all this drawing, Wreck Tower is a must-have. Rogue's Passage allows us to kill with combat damage because our commander does have a lot of counters building on him across the length of the game. And because we have such a diverse land base, Field of the Dead can generate tokens which we can sacrifice even further to. As for basics, kept it simple, 3, 3, and 3 for our 3 types. Now to cover that Ashnod's Altar combo again, which I've done in a few Commander decks now. The idea is you have Ashnod's Altar, you have a creature which brings an army with it, and Nim Death Mantle. The idea is, let's say the Autocrat here brings in 3 tokens, you sacrifice those 3 tokens to the altar, you've just netted 6 mana, then you sacrifice the Autocrat as the last one. Now you've got 8 mana, but he's going to the graveyard, then you may pay the 4 mana of the Death Mantle effect to bring him straight back, and then he brings the 3 tokens with him again, but you're still 4 mana up. Doing this lets you create infinite loop of token generation, mana, and draw with your commander out, or buff your commander to whatever side you need to, draw whatever cards you need. It's a very versatile combo, and there's a few creatures you can do it with as well. So what do you think about Korvold? I think he's a great commander, possibly the best Jund commander now, possibly, like it's up for debate. The draw engine is unreal, the buffing's huge, and you can go around like either a 1-1 build, a counter build, token build. You've got so many themes going on. It's a great diversity there. And with that, you can build it so many different ways. So let me know your thoughts, guys. How are you building the commander? I really think the words of X, Y, and Z are really good cards with this commander. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. And have a good one. Catch you later. Alrighty, it's that time of the video. We can do a bit of a shameless plug. So thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, please sub and like. It really does help the channel's analytics out a lot. Maybe consider joining me on my other social platforms, where you can talk about anything and everything Magic related. And special thank you to our patrons. They make the channel what it is. These guys are the building blocks for Mana Down Under. They support the channel in many ways. And if you'd be interested in supporting the channel, links are down below and at the end of the video. Thank you, guys.